Is have we got? Is Emmanuel not coming in?
Don't know. Russ
I
Rob.
texted him earlier. He didn't reply, so I don't know.
Well, listen to
That
him.
doesn't bode well.
He's supposed to be in charge of Emmanuel. All he did was text him earlier.
Has he,
Yeah, he
What was
still has. He
saying?
still hasn't replied.
has he rated it?
Has he done what, Ben?
Rated it, but no. He
Oh,
Rated
right,
the
no.
movie?
No, he hasn't. No.
Also, Dan,
Yeah.
I feel like, I know you've been here for the calls that we've been doing on Zoom, but just to go back to what you were saying earlier about me sounding quiet, yeah, that's Zoom.
Oh, is it? I did.
That's
But
the
only for John for some reason.
You sound alright today.
Yeah.
whole point of me putting my fingers up, because my mic is quieter in general, but also if anyone talks while I'm talking, I immediately get drowned out,
Oh.
which is very fucking annoying because
It's-
it's my biggest pet peeves, and I know no one's doing it on purpose, so like I don't get mad at anyone specifically. I just get mad at it happening, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to talk now.
Once my subscription for Zoom is up, we can try Google Meets or something, see if it changes on there.
I didn't know you had to pay for this.
Yeah, you have to pay if you want to record, but I was like, whatever.
Oh,
Ah,
Gay.
I feel a bit bad.
Speaking
I
of,
wouldn't feel bad. It's not that much.
like, obviously in last week's call there was a moment where like we were on something for way too long, and then Emmanuel was like, let's just move on. Like, I kind of lost track of that one, but the one before, I realized that we were going on too long when I noticed that Rob had stopped recording, because like we were talking and I was like, I looked over in the top left corner and I was like, it's not recording anymore. I should probably cut this off.
No, there was a bit last week where I paused the recording because like Alec went into like this long rant about something, and I was like, he's probably not going to want this online.
And Alec could have created further into space.
Thanks for that. Yeah, no, when I said I feel bad for it was because I kind of just went really fucking off the rails, and you had to pay for it. So sorry everybody. That
All
was
history, innit? All history.
In
all
the
history.
moment it was annoying, but like looking back at it, it's quite funny because I kept just like trying to cut you off, and like because you were just repeating yourself, but like I'm the only person here who shouldn't be trying to do that because you can't fucking hear me, but no one else. So I
Can you? It's like you're sitting there talking. You're like, please shut up. And then you kind of, no, I need you.
was literally,
I won't.
just sitting here going, Alec, and just hoping that at some point it would like cut in.
Or Alec just stops talking, and you're like,
What
I
that
can't hear
Which
me.
didn't happen.
drunk Alec doesn't stop.
I woke up really grumpy about it because somehow I remembered. Somehow I just had the memory that no one was listening to anything I was saying, and I was like, "Oh, I'm fucking mad about this." And I wrote out this big old fucking rant, and I was about to send it, and I was like, "I will just watch the recording before I send this." And then I watched the whole thing and went, "Backspace."
Delete everything.
That's such a fucking drunken thing to like remember.
Control.
You were the one who was slighted, and you're like, I'll fucking tell them, and then they're only like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, fair enough.
But there was a bit, especially where I was like, "Oh, can't believe John said I was talking shit." And I'm like watching back, I was like, I was the one who said I might just be talking shit, and then you went, "Yeah, I think you are talking shit," and I was like, "Oh no."
Oh, shit.
Wasn't intent anything like that. I was just gonna like combat the points you were going over, but then because you said, I don't know if I'm just talking shit, my brain went, yeah, fucking tell him he's talking shit.
But yeah, no, sorry about that again. Just for the last one. But yeah.
We've got the whole arc on recorded video now of you being drunk for a call and then apologising for it. So everything is balanced.
Everything's okay.
See you again in 4 months.
That's
Well, hey, I went literally 30 calls. No, 30 calls since I've done that since. So like, I think that's decent.
And nobody left Film Club this time, so it's all
Nobody
fine.
left Film Club.
I mean, like if I hadn't got this job, I might have, I again actually feel a little bit bad because it's this one's my pick as well, and I did actually bring the book, and there was like a little bit that I did want to read, so
to combat the fact that I had just talked so fucking much last week, I've now brought some reading for me to
Oh fuck!
talk even more.
So,
It's everyone's asleep by then, but and that's what he said, and everyone's like, "Well, it's fuck, bro."
Alex says, "Oh, I'm sorry for talking so much last week.
I'm going
I'm going
to
to talk even more this week."
Anyway,
from a book.
Before you get into that, I would just like reminisce about the end of last call, which was Pat just wanting it to end and being like, "So what's your movie, Alec?" And then you were like, "Oh yeah, my movie." And then you started talking to Ebony, and then Pat was like, "What's your movie, Alec?" And you're like, "What?" "Oh yeah, my movie. Oh yeah, my movie." So
It took about 5 minutes to get it out of him.
you
I
just,
remember
you just kept going.
I remember doing that, and I was like intentionally trying to make it last as long as possible, and I was like, because I think I wanted to have a look at a little bit of an intro for this, like, don't try and watch this as a normal movie, like, here's a bit of background for it, and I just kept not being able to find where I'd left that little thread in my brain, and then I was just like, just keep going, it's really, really funny, trust me, and then just watching it back, I was like, oh god.
Fucking hell!
Yeah,
Yeah.
we might
What did I miss?
we might as well just start because we haven't had anything from Manny. So
That's okay. Well,
Bless you.
my
Exactly.
only problem with the room is that we didn't know that his dad was dead. No,
Wait a minute, that's the wrong film.
Was
Humphreys watched it. Humphreys watched it.
Hey, I know
sorry,
about Michael Jordan.
so to start off bad movie round, I chose the worst film ever made, which is The Room.
I didn't watch Dragon Ball Evolution today.
Described,
I didn't watch
Describe-
an Egress today.
but yeah, described by one reviewer as like getting stabbed in the head.
so Pat's review. PK.
Stabbed in the head.
Sorry, John, we missed all of what you just said.
I figured you probably would, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if we just want to get me reading out of the way, and then I can just, yeah. please stop talking. Sorry. So this concerns the high mark.
Oh,
Bit.
okay.
But yeah, yeah. I kind of consider this like the kind of opposite to like Birdman, like, you know, like the guy, and he's just like writing and directing and starring, and it's like it goes really well, and it's just like this one's just a disaster on every fucking level, and I think it's brilliant.
Right.
Are we sitting comfortably?
Now begin.
Pat's already asleep.
Pat's already asleep. You might enjoy it, Pat. I don't know.
Reading, you know that.
No, he's got his phone. That's all right. In the original draft of the Room script, the stage direction reads, Johnny opens the door to the roof access. Mark is sitting there. Tommy had decided this wasn't dramatic or emotional enough, especially now that he'd rewritten his script to include scenes in which Lisa claims to others that Johnny has abused her. To establish that Johnny is incapable of abuse, Tommy concocted a new opening for this scene, in which Johnny steps onto the roof saying, "It's not true. I did not hit her. It's bullshit." I did not. After which comes this. Oh, hi, Mark. There are 17 words in this sequence. 11 of them are non-recurring. Only one carries the burden of a second syllable. In other words, these are not terribly difficult lines to learn. Sandy had blocked the scene so that Tommy would emerge from the outhouse, hit his mark on the second, "I did not," look up, nail his eye line, say, "Oh, hi, Mark." Walk off camera to where we, the audience, imagine Mark to be sitting. Most school plays contain scenes that pose bigger technical acting challenges. Tommy couldn't remember his lines. He couldn't hit his mark. He couldn't say Mark. He couldn't walk. He couldn't find his eye line. He would emerge from the outhouse mumbling, lost, and disorientated. He looked directly into the camera. He swore. He exploded at a crew member for farting. You can't do this ridiculous stuff. It's disgusting like hell. Sandy stood there so open-mouthed that it looked as if he were waiting for someone to lob something nutritive at him. Finally, Tommy commanded me to sit off camera, hoping that my becoming his living eye line would help him. It didn't. Everything became infectiously not funny. People were turning away from the set, their faces constipated with laughter they dared not release. Tommy didn't notice any of this. He was locked into a scene and a moment he couldn't bring to life. It was as horrifyingly transfixing as watching a baby crawl across the 405 freeway. We're all waiting for a miracle. It took Tommy 30 minutes to feel comfortable enough to walk down the outhouse's 2 steps without staring at his feet. It took another 30 minutes for him to take those 2 steps while also remembering his lines. With time and effort, he got the walking, talking aspect of the performance down, and doing all this while hitting the mark and looking at me remained a grand fantasy. He kept saying, "You need to look up when you say hi to Mark." Tommy would nod. Yes, indeed, exactly what he needed to do. He would try and try again. I did not. Look up. Oh, hi, Mark. Up. Sandy stopped everything and took Tommy aside. He tried to reason with him, as though Tommy's understanding and not Tommy's ability were the real problem. You have to look at Mark when you say the line, okay? Because right now you're looking down. Okay, Tommy said. He'd rehearsed this moment for half the day, and this was the result. Soon the cameraman was laughing so hard that his camera started to shake during takes. Sandy decided to watch some VHS playbacks to see if there was anything at all usable. I was still sitting off camera, feeling as though I'd been dosed with something potent. Tommy came over to me, looking worried. "How am I doing?" he asked. "Give me the feedback, something." It was a genuine request. I felt sorry for him at the moment. I knew how hard he was trying. I also knew that being a dramatic actor was the most important thing to Tommy. Everything he'd done in life was to get to this point. How could I help him? I had no idea. "You're doing great," I said. But the obvious peril Tommy was in, that the whole production was now in, had broken through his vanity. For once, Tommy wanted something more than chummy assurance. "How?" Tommy asked again, more insistently. "Am I doing? Don't pull my legs." I looked around, thinking, props, because props always helped Tommy. They took his mind off trying to act. I saw a nearby water bottle and grabbed it. "Here," I said, handing the bottle to Tommy. "Use this. You know what you're supposed to do, right? So do it. What do you always tell me? Show some emotion." Tommy smiled in pure holy relief. "Why didn't you tell me emotion? My God, that easy part. Now you see why I need you here? These other people don't care." Immediately started peeling off the water bottle sticker because nothing scared Tommy more than having to pay someone for permission to use a logo. Tommy is probably the world's single most copyright obsessed human being who does not also have a law degree. Sandy joined us on the side of the rooftop set. He looked for a long time at Tommy's water bottle before speaking. "What's this?" "Water bottle," Tommy said. Sandy took in a lungful of deep, calming breath. "Yes," he said. "I know. What are we doing with it?" "I need to throw something, damn it, during scene." Sandy turned away, removed his glasses, sat down and rubbed his eyes. Tommy headed back to the outhouse, his water bottle in hand and his script hidden in his breast pocket. I sat down. Sandy stood by the monitor. Action. The door flew open and there was Tommy holding his water bottle and stepping out of the outhouse and hitting his head on the door jamb so hard it took 20 minutes to ice the bump and conceal it with makeup. I heard one of the cameramen say desperately, "How are we ever going to do this? It's impossible. We'll be here forever." Then, just for comic relief, Don and Brianna arrived on set to pick up their checks. Tommy, sitting in the makeup chair while Amy iced his forehead down, ignored them at first. Brianna talked to Juliet as Don ginned up the courage to approach Tommy. Their brief, chilly exchange ended with Tommy signing 2 $1,500 checks. Don, I could tell, was a little relieved not to be doing the room. Really, he was surprisingly decent about the whole thing, even telling me that someday he would be able to laugh about this. Tommy had deigned to acknowledge Don, but he wouldn't, for whatever reason, talk to or even look at Brianna. I gave Brianna her check. "Look at him," she said, holding it as though about to rip it in half. Tommy was still sitting in makeup, pressing an ice pack to his forehead. "He won't even acknowledge me. He's such a pussy." Tommy noticed me idling too long with Brianna and called me over. "Greg, I need you here." He wanted to continue running his lines. It was hopeless. He still couldn't remember them, and now, to make things worse, it was possible he had a concussion. Sandy and I huddled together and came up with a handy formula for Tommy to remember. When I returned to Tommy, I said this. "Okay, so here's what you do. I did not, mad, 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 throw the water bottle, stop, notice me, look up." Tommy asked that I repeat the formula several times. "Show me once more," Tommy said. By now his bruise had been buried beneath the beige snowdrift of concealer. He was finally ready. He took a breath, returned to the outhouse and did the scene. At long last we got the shot. It took 3 hours and 32 takes, but we got the shot. If you can, I implore you to watch this scene. It's 7 seconds long, 3 hours, 32 takes, and it was only the second day of filming.
I love everything about that. That makes me wonder how long it actually took them to do the movie as a whole.
See the making of.
Because like that oh hi Mark like is probably the most quoted thing from the entire movie.
Mm.
But I think my favorite parts are that and the like I don't remember the rest of the scene, but I'm just being like, yeah, how's your sex life?
Oh, I love that line. That's up there. The two best lines are that and the I did not. That's
Yeah, and the obviously the everybody betray me. I'm so done with this world.
the thing
I'm
is, though,
done.
like there are a few moments where I'm like, I don't like, like I said earlier, like I downloaded the script because there's a few moments where I'm like, I don't believe that you could write that line without having some like awareness of how bad this is. And like the three of them for me are when Lisa's mother comes in and she's like, "Why are these characters here?" Because I was sat there like, "Yeah, why are they there? Who are they?" And
That, right.
would you say, John?
What scene was that? Because I must not have been paying attention when it actually happened. Because I noticed you say it while I was still watching it. But
Yeah. So it's
for it
the
happening.
it's the bit where there's just two random people in Tommy's flat, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then Lisa's mother just walks in and she's like, "Who are these characters?" And like, yeah, I was just there like, "What? Yeah, who are they? Like, what's going on?" And then another one is when Denny's like, "You're not my fucking mother," because that was another one where I was like, "Yeah, she's not. Why is she giving you a hard time?" And then the third one was when Tommy tells the story about him coming to America, and then Mark's just like, "Yeah, so what's the interesting part?"
I've actually
There's
got. Oh,
not-
sorry, John.
No, go on.
I was gonna say I've actually got some more examples. Because there's a bit where he's like he does it. You're tearing me apart, Lisa, and Lisa goes, "Why are you so hysterical?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then the second one is when he's having a fight with Mark, and Mark's like, "Jesus fucking Christ, Johnny, what planet are you on?"
Oh man,
Yeah.
brilliant.
It's funny because, like, despite what I knew about the film, because like I knew nothing about the scenes or anything or the story, like, other than the few things that are quoted, I knew nothing. But like I knew enough to expect anything from the movie. But at the same time, that scene you're talking about, where the man and woman are like fooling around in Tommy's house, in Johnny's house. My first thought when they were there was like, oh, this is something Lisa's doing. Like Lisa's doing this to like set him up somehow. Like I don't know exactly where it's going, but it must be like some kind of thing. And then like no, it was literally nothing. Like it didn't mean anything. There was no purpose for it. The only thing I really got out of that scene was me being like, you know, I don't find Lisa attractive at all, but her friend's pretty hot.
There's so many things that are set up and then just like disregarded completely. Like the biggest one is Lisa's mum just being like, "I definitely have breast cancer," never mentioned again.
It's to give you sympathy for her mum. That's all. Okay.
Because it was like she's like, I got the test results back. I've got breast cancer, and then she's like, "Oh, don't worry about it, mum." And I'm like, "Okay, I can accept that because, like, you know, not just because she's got her own stuff going on, but because you don't want people to worry about that kind of stuff. Like she even says, you know, they treat people all the time for it. But then she treats her mother like a dickhead for the entire movie after that. And there's even like that moment where she's like, "Oh, you look really tired, mum. Are you okay?" She's got fucking breast cancer.
Yeah, that would have been fine. Just mention it again. Just-
Right? Just like, what do you fucking think? Like,
Oh,
The guy.
and that thing about her house as well, that fucking cracks me up. Where she's like, oh, or is it her neighbour's house where she's like, "Oh, Johnny won't give her the deposit. I expected more from your husband."
Yeah, to be more generous, guys. Mine, Mike was on mute for like I don't know how long. So I'm like, so I was saying stuff and you couldn't hear what I was saying at all. Yeah, that was great. No, there's a bit with the tuxedos, and I'm like, I don't understand why there's. It's just they wear tuxedos, they throw a ball around, and nothing said. It's like,
I mean, to be fair, that part, I assumed that they were trying on the tuxes for either for the party
But
or
this-
the like preparation for the wedding,
I
but
think
do anything with it.
Alec might correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember right, there's a bit in the Disaster Artist that says like they basically rented the suits for a scene that didn't happen, and then they were like, "Well, we've got these suits, so we might as well wear them."
Yeah, basically. That is it.
what?
That scene you were talking about, Rob, where she's like, I don't remember if definitely wasn't her. It was like a neighbor or something, or like a part of their family. Um, like I actually thought that wasn't that bad, only because at first it sounded like she's saying she was asking Tommy to help out with the Johnny to help out with the money. But then, and maybe that is exactly what was intended. But what I took from it was like, oh no, he works in a bank, so there were, she was probably asking for help like with a loan or something for the deposit, and he was just like, oh no, she's not viable or something. Like I'm hoping that's what was intended because that's what I took
Yeah.
from it. But like it could easily just have been like she was like, oh, you're dating my daughter, can you lend me some money for my neighbor who needs a house? Fuck off.
That's definitely how I took it, but you might be
Is-
right actually. Maybe I didn't give it enough credit.
No, it's she's stand back in being generous. Why would the bank be generous to give her money?
Well, no, as in like you because he's in a certain position
Uh,
and like he can give out loans.
it's
You
not
could
his
argue
money.
it would be generous to like give it to her even though she's not supposed to have it, kind of thing. But
That's illegal.
I might be giving him too much credit.
There's loads of bits in it. Like I got 3 minutes in and I was just like, what the fuck is this? 3 minutes. And got to that first sex scene. I'm just like,
Whoa,
the fuck?
sex
Yeah, how many were there?
hour.
4.
No,
Three,
there was
five,
more.
or 5.
There was more than 4. I
Oh
thought
no,
that
maybe it was only 4.
Bearing in mind that 2 of them are the same one.
Yeah.
I
Because
think
he
it's
just
free. It's 3 of them that are the same one, isn't it? Isn't it later
Oh.
on there's the same one? I might be wrong.
I don't think so.
You've
I think-
got the.
Though I didn't look properly. To be fair.
Yeah. It's at least 2, whatever it is.
Well, there's the stairs. They're on the spiral staircase because that's logical.
you are my rose.
But it was like, I'm like, is this serious? Like the acting was just, there was just nothing. And I just like, what? It's
Well, apparently during the casting process, like they had like a lot of women come up and go like, is this a porno? And they're going like, no, it's an actual film. And they're going like, okay. And then they're like, who have I got to be? But they're auditioning for like Lisa, and they had a bunch of just kind of come up, and they're going like, oh yeah, he's the because they're looking at Greg Sestero, going like, oh yeah, so who am I doing this with? And he'd go and point to Tommy, and they'd go, oh, I've got another call. Actually, I'll be back. And then-
What
That's it.
it's like one of the YouTube channels I follow, they've talked about it before, not like in depth, just like in a passing conversation. One of the things I always remember him saying was like, Tommy was always like, he's got a really weird body. He's like kind of ripped, but he looks very alien. And then I saw his body and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what that is.
It's
He
because,
Apparently, oh sorry.
man.
I was gonna say he's got basically like he's got like some muscle, but he's just got no fat at all. So he's like stringy.
I think what it is like he is quite ripped, but he's also got the frame of like a really old man.
Yeah, he's an old man. Like the weird thing is, I don't think he like his face, like his like jawline and everything like that. Like generally speaking, I don't think he's unattractive, but he just looks fucking weird.
Very lumpy man.
He's
Yeah.
like looking at him is kind of like an uncanny valley kind of like you're looking at him and you're like he's kind of looks real, but kind of not.
There's
Well,
a
that,
lot about him that's like that. Like he won't even disclose where he's from. So like nobody apart from him and a few other people know his nationality even. And like, yeah, there's just loads of things about him where you're like, are you a real person? I'm not sure.
Oh well, funnily enough, I did write K-Pax down on my list to pick at some point. So that could be a good reference for this movie.
'Cause I think on Wikipedia it says he's Polish, but I don't know.
you wouldn't. I think it's also important to note with that with the sex scene where he like walks out and he's you just get the big ass shot. He apparently did that quite late into filming, and then like the whole crew were just getting more pissed with him for like various reasons. Like he wasn't buying the air conditioning, he was like verbally abusing staff, he wasn't like paying staff, and all that. And then like he was just like, we filmed this scene, and he's like just walking around and he's going like, you got the shot, and the guy's like, we got the shot, Tommy.
Shut
See that?
Just like that dude, just like, everybody hates me, I'm gonna get my ass out.
The thing with him is like, from everything Rob said before about like this being like, something he's wanted to do his entire life, and it's like his passion thing, and it's great that he got it made despite everything else. That like made me respect him a little bit, but knowing that he was an arsehole like was trying to make it, which in fairness, I get. If you're very passionate about something and you want to get it made your way to the point that you're starring, directing, writing, everything, I get how you'd be very flippant with your moods. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, like fucking hell.
Hey,
Well, that's
apparently.
kind of-
Sorry, man, go on.
No.
All right, then I will. He apparently went through like 4 entire different crews, and like he just kept firing people because he was like, "No, we're not on the same page."
Oh,
You're in a different fucking library.
I saw this is the quote that I mentioned earlier. Actually, I saw somebody describe the film as a film made by somebody who'd never seen a film in their lives but had had them thoroughly described to him, and I think that's a wonderful description of it.
it is, isn't it?
It's like what I said earlier. I feel like he watched one movie and was like, I can do that. And then that's where he learned his English from, the one time he watched it. And then that's also where he got everything else from. But he never watched it again for reference. The one time.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about it. To be honest, I think that's why it's so watchable as a bad film, because it just breaks every rule of films.
It
'Cause,
does.
like literally every scene that Lisa's in, she's just going, "I don't love Johnny anymore. I hate him." It's just like it never develops beyond that.
Oh.
There's so many things that are set up and they're just thrown away. And, like it's
Until
just...
he comes home as well, she goes like, "Hey babe."
You know what really got
That
me?
scene over and over again.
Oh, God.
You know, what really got me. It's when he calls her a tramp, and I was like, "That's just hilarious." And then the other bloke calls her a tramp after he shoots himself, and I'm just, it got me. And I'm just sitting there. He calls her a tramp.
See, what I found quite funny is like I said at the very start, I thought Lisa was actually acting all right, but then
Yeah.
slowly got worse, and then there's like scenes where she's screaming, but she's also clearly smiling. But the thing that I found really, just from an acting point of view, not even like I don't even necessarily think this is something that's wrong with her. I feel like it might be in the direction, but you've got them having sex, and then like she looks really annoyed at him in bed afterwards, like, and I'm like, is it because he fell asleep, or is it? And then that would have been a really good way to lead into her like clearly not actually being happy with him. But then the next scene is him like getting up and being like, oh yeah, and then leaving the rose on the pillow, and then she's like, oh yes, I'm so in love, and I'm like, wait, there's no one else here. Why? This doesn't make sense.
To be fair though, I think you'd look annoyed if a lumpy-faced vampire just sort of like made passionate love to your navel.
Yes.
I also wouldn't make the choice to let that happen.
Oh my god! But it's because where I didn't really know what it was going to be about, and it was just like 3 minutes. I'm like, why is this really weird? And by the end of the film, I was like, I get why this is so fucking awful.
I thought it was like so funny because I was trying to describe it to Eb, and she was like, "What is it about?" And I was like, "It's not even like it's not even high concept or anything. He's not even trying to do anything crazy. He's just trying to do like a drama about like cheating. He just can't do it."
It's literally like a bare bones meat and potatoes drama, but he just can't even hit the notes.
Because like the Mark character, I'm sure he's got amnesia because he says, "Oh, he's my best friend. I don't want to cheat on him," and then he cheats on. And he says,
No, I think that's fair enough because like there's a lot wrong with this movie. I don't think that's bad because it's the typical
No.
thing of like, oh, he's my best friend, I can't betray him, but then you're like, tempted by this woman kind of thing.
Then he betray me. I
But-
feel
No,
that.
But it's more the fact he doesn't actually. It's like in the next scene, he doesn't actually know it's happened, and he kind of says the same thing again. It's like, oh, but he's my best friend. We shouldn't do this, and then he does it. It's just like, what?
Well, no,
It-
my favorite part was like he'd already said like, no, we can't do this, and like then they're in the house and she's like, come on. He's like, no, I said we can't. Like, he's my best friend. And she's like, oh, come on, just one more time. And then he's like, all right then.
Why?
To me arm.
If you think that's bad though, and I'm hoping that Alex gonna have something bookmarked about this. So apparently the original idea for the film was that Johnny was going to be revealed to be a vampire, and the big reveal was going to be him flying off in a car. And the only reason that they didn't do that subplot was because they couldn't work out how to film a flying car.
Wait,
A vampire in a flying car.
got a problem with that.
Yeah.
Like, in mythology, vampires have had many abilities over this, like the set that they've existed in like fiction. But like, okay, telepathy technically has been one of them, but why? Why would he be flying off in a car? Because they
Who
didn't
knows?
have a CGI,
Honestly,
so they didn't want him being like.
That's the thing I love the most about it, is he was like, oh, we can't film a flying car. I can't be a vampire under these conditions.
I don't actually have anything bookmarked for that, but
Oh, no.
there is the bit where he like is pitching it to one of the guys, and the guy's gone and then he like walks off to his giggle tent. It's just like a little tent off the edge of set, and he's just going. Everyone made use of this
Oh, man.
tent at some point.
Like, I know they kind of just stole the name of it now, but like this kind of makes me sad for what a Disaster Artist movie could have actually been. Because
Yeah.
it would have been quite good as basically just a documentary style movie, just like them having like outtakes of
Mm.
the 32 takes or whatever, and like having interviews with people who worked with him being like, he's fucking mental. Like, that would have been really interesting rather than just, as far as I know, making the same movie and mocking it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
the
basically
thing
what
is-
does.
The thing you lose with the book is like Greg Sestero is actually a very good writer, and like he can actually he's actually really funny, and it's kind of. I think you need to have the presence of mind just to like include some of the things he writes, because it is genuinely like quite comedic. And so the idea they went, nah, I'll do a bad Tommy Wiseau impression and I'll write my own script with less jokes. It's like, yeah, good one.
Just to make sure, that's the guy who plays Mark, right?
Yeah.
Man, so
Just
he's attractive and funny.
just on that documentary though, that one has actually happened. So
Oh.
they made it a couple of years ago, and then Tommy Wiseau took him to court to block it, and he's only recently lost the court case, so it's coming soon.
oh, awesome. Very good.
Just from a fair usage standpoint, I don't think you can block a documentary. I was going to say, can you? But I'm assuming by the fact that he lost his court case, the answer is no, you can't.
Do you know what? I don't know why he lost it, so let me try and find it.
Yeah, because like, I mean, I'm sure there's
One
some
sec.
things that you could use to like be like, I don't want this to be a thing. But like from a legal perspective, I'm pretty sure it all comes under fair use. Like, obviously, there's people with like more power and stuff can like squash you, but I want to hear what Rob's going to say now because it seems funny.
So not only has he lost the court case against this documentary, he's had to pay them $700,000 for trying to block it.
Whoa.
What was the reason though?
I haven't even got to that bit yet.
While
Oh my
Rob's
God.
doing a little bit of research, I'm obviously not gonna read the whole thing, but just skimming over the drug dealer Chris R. When they first filmed that scene, it was in the alleyway set.
But the
And-
police came.
Huh?
But did the police come?
No, he just gets taken to jail by Tommy and Mark.
Just quickly, like, I don't know if we'd have ever mentioned this to you, but when we were doing some media stuff in school, like the police were actually called on us because
Yeah.
Oh wow!
I can't remember if it was because of the knife. I think it was because of the gun.
It was the gun.
But some woman called the police on us, and like they came over to us, and they were like, "Okay, like just fucking." I don't think I was there specifically for the police moment, but I think they basically just said like, just be careful. So that's as soon as you said it was originally in the alleyway, I was like, "Oh shit, be like me."
Well,
times.
the guy they had to be the drug dealer wasn't actually even an actor, really. He was just a friend of someone. And he just brought him on. Like Tommy just thought he looked like Al Capone for
What?
some reason. I was like, yes, no, he should be our bad guy.
How
And then
did
and then I like filmed this whole scene. He was like, "Am I anywhere else in here?" And Tommy was like, "I cannot tell you. It is confidential. Anyway, how's your sex life?" And then the actor was like, "Oh, okay, well, bye." And then like they had him. They decided. Tommy just decided he was just going to do a reshoot of the whole thing like weeks after he left. And he was like, "Oh, I'll get him back." And Greg just there had to call him back up and go, "Hi, can you come back and do a scene?" And he's like, "I'm shopping." Like, what? He's like, he wanted to come back and film a scene because he wanted to do it on the rooftop instead. So the rooftop scene was actually a reshoot of a previous scene they'd already filmed and getting him back.
I was going to say it's really funny that he's not an actor, and he probably did some of the best acting in the movie. But
Yeah. He's known as the best actor.
like,
That's
acting, he was just really pissed off because he was shopping.
But the funny bit of it is that doing that whole reshoot of like a scene that they'd already filmed completely fine, getting him back to do the rooftop scene cost $80,000 just to reshoot because they had to hire the green screen.
Scream was so bad, man.
Why did
It's-
they
yeah.
do that?
Well, because they could, like, they were probably doing it in a place where there was actual people in other places around, so they would have had to like get them to.
They had to film it in the back of a car park.
Oh, well, then it just looked shit, I guess. But I find that scene really funny because it's pretty much the only scene in the entire movie that is actually used to set something up later on. But
It is-
obviously, it's still not done well. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Nothing comes of it. Like, it just all it means is that there's a reason for him to have a gun, which fair enough. Like, I wouldn't have even expected that from the rest of the movie.
I did
Oh,
actually have like just a little bit. I wanted to. It's really short. In the scene's opening, Johnny sits on a chair across from Lisa. The first thing Sandy noticed when Tommy sat down was that a table in the background was distractingly empty. "We can't just shoot a blank table," Sandy said. It wasn't the first time it had come up that Johnny and Lisa's condo had all the charm of my room at the Saharan Motel. How did Tommy come to furnish his film's imaginary condo? By walking into a thrift furniture store in LA and purchasing the entire mock-up apartment and its display windows. This means that Johnny and Lisa's condo was modelled on a space purposefully designed to be uninhabited.
Did you find out yet, Rob?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. So he apparently took the documentary to court because he said that the documentary disclosed information about him that was highly offensive. And the outcome of the court case was, and this is a quote from, I think, the judge, I think. So this information was available from public sources, which is how defendants obtained and confirmed it. Wazoo may be sensitive about this information because he has cultivated an aura of mystery around himself, but disclosure of these facts is not, objectively speaking, something which can be described as highly offensive.
But like, even if it was, is that a thing that's illegal? Like that you could actually take someone to like? I get things like defamation, whatever.
Defamation, yeah.
I get things like that, and like disclosing information that is actually like harmful to you, or like something that's private that you don't have anywhere else. But is there a like a legal thing about it being offensive?
So as far as I know, it would only be if it was defamation of character. So I think the rule is basically if it's true, you're fine.
Like, so even just the starting point of, and wait, how many years did this court case go on for?
It's been going on for about 2 years.
Okay, so that's 2 years of fees and stuff for something that really, from the moment it left his mouth, they should have gone, no.
Yeah. And the best bit is as well, there's another quote where the judge describes Tommy Wiseau as oppressive and outrageous. So he's had to pay $550,000 to make up for the sabotaged release, and a further $200,000 in punitive damages.
And then add on to that any legal fees or anything like that. And I
Can
doubt
I
he has
just
much money left
sorry?
making this movie and probably not actually getting any revenue from it.
I just want to share this.
God.
His school year.
He's
Wait, if you showed that to someone else, they might believe that was me. I don't like that. I'm not
Yeah, a little bit.
that.
John in the 70s.
Fucking hell. I'm gonna look up how much the room generated.
Oh, I can probably. No, no.
Which one?
There's there's another like I don't know little bit of trivia about the film which I always find really funny. Is that apparently Denny was meant to have like some kind of mental disorder, but nobody knew about this apart from Tommy Wiseau, and like even the actor was like, no, he never told me.
But
Because like
then, because the way the kid acted was as if he did. Like I got that from the acting.
Yeah, I didn't. Maybe it's another time where I'm not giving him enough credit as a writer. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like maybe it was just coincidental because like he seemed like a character that actually had like some kind of like he was mentally challenged in some way or had some sort of mental illness. And that was fine because I felt that in the acting. But the guy who was with Lisa's friend, he acted like a child had been transported into an adult's body, and it made me feel really uncomfortable because it actually felt like kiddie fiddling kind of thing. Like,
Oh wow.
well, because he gave off that vibe of a child,
Hmm.
it felt like he was being manipulated. And I know that's like looking too much into it, but it made me feel really uncomfortable. But
Hmm.
I want you to know that the budget for this movie was $6 million, and at box office it made 1,900.
Oh.
Oh my god, that's
Oh,
amazing.
man.
There's more places I haven't looked at yet, but like,
Thousands.
just fucking crack me up.
Oh man. Do you know apparently as well, I read once that apparently Tommy Wiseau contacted Paramount Pictures to be a distributor for it. And apparently usually it takes like months to hear back from a studio, but they rejected it within a couple of hours.
And did not distribute. I did
I'm
not.
really disappointed now because the thing I was reading linked me to Wikipedia, and while I was scrolling through trying to get to the rest of the revenue thing, I had gone past the other media bit, and just like as I was going through, I locked onto the word video game. And, excuse me, but no, it was a fucking thing, so it's not
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh,
So I'm gonna go somewhere else.
there's another scene that gets me, and it's when he falls over. You know, the bloke that John was talking about, and it's the fact that he pushes him with the football, and he just falls over, and he's acting like he's all dazed. I'm like, really?
They acted like he'd just been shot or something.
Or
Like,
he'd hit his head really hard, and he's all like, "Oh my god!" And he's just like, "You pushed him into a bin with a football, not very hard."
he acted like that in that moment, and I was like, okay, weird. And then there was another moment later on where I felt like there was a perfect opportunity for that, which is when Mark like falls back against the door, and I was like, oh, holy shit, did he hit his head like on the handle and be like a big thing? And then he just gets back up, and I'm like, oh, all right.
Oh, I just remembered the when he's pushing the psychiatrist off the rooftop, and then he's just going like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "Sorry."
We all have those days.
Because you know, you said about Denny, because it's like right at the start when he's watching him in the bed, and then he gets in the bed and starts pillow fighting. I was just like, what?
Like that, even that, it's the way they reacted was weird. Like, especially now you have the context, like, because like I said, I took it the whole way through that he was like he had some sort of mental like illness or whatever, just from the way he acted. So that didn't seem that weird to me. But now the context, knowing that only Tommy knew that, it's weird. Like, it's not weird that it was written that way, but it's weird. Surely it must have been weird for the actress to be like, I don't feel like I'd act like this if I was about to have sex with my partner and like some random kid jumped in and was like, ha 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 ha.
To be fair, that is a Pandora's box if they start questioning how they would have acted. I must admit though, like that scene, that's probably the limit. Because you know, I was saying earlier that I wish that I would have been able to show you guys this, pretending that I actually thought it was a great film. I think that scene is probably the bit where I'd have to go, oh yeah, I don't really.
Bruv, we found a cinema that was showing it. I still knew nothing about it, and you just didn't do it.
Oh, I wish we did.
Emmanuel's just messaged the group chat like, "Hey guys, is it at 11?"
Oh,
Yeah.
I find it's funny what you said though. I'm gonna come in, then I gotta leave and come back. But like, it's already been an hour.
Oh, bless him. Oops.
blocked himself.
But yeah, fuck me.
Fucking
This
fine.
Really hard to find out how much revenue this movie actually made overall.
Well, they
I
still
suppose-
show it around the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Must have got his budget back.
Reddit, but I don't know how well it is because it was just a post on Reddit. But apparently, like, they're saying that James Franco says that Tommy Wiseau makes like $500,000 to $1 million or something like every year off The Room. So they estimated it as like between $7.5 to $15 million like overall. So realistically speaking, this court case thing wasn't a big problem if that's true. Because I imagined him like having used all of his money for this movie. I don't know how he ever got the funding for it and how he saved like had the money, whatever, which I'm sure you'll tell me in a minute. But I imagined him having done all that, getting just under $2,000 at the box office, and then going fuck, and then trying to start a court case.
Well, the thing is sort of like when they all kind of started it off. It was the director who kind of went to go and he went in with a check to go and see if it would actually like bounce or not, and like he took it into the bank, and they were like, he was going like, yeah, don't worry, I bet it's not even going to be anything, and he was like, no, this account is a bottomless pit. Like no one knows where he's got all this money from or anything, but he is like fucking loaded.
So he says, and I don't know how true this is, but he says that he made his money by selling leather jackets. Yeah, probably wasn't, was it?
What if he was that guy I bought that leather jacket from with my
Oh,
paycheck and we funded this movie?
I would absolutely love that.
Although, like, that would make sense why he was so desperate to haggle the price when I literally just stared at him.
Yeah, I just need 40 quid and then I can buy this camera.
But like,
What?
go on.
No, sorry, I was going to ask. Pat just posted something. I didn't know if he wanted to share.
Oh, it's just I did a Google search on how much the film made in box office total. It's less than $5 million US.
Yeah, but I didn't want to just look at box office. That's why I was like trying to find something else.
I'm surprised it made that much.
It continues to make a lot more.
Pat, do you have anything you want to share? Do you have any thoughts?
No.
You find it roomy?
I literally got nothing from the film.
I can't believe it. I think it's so watchable, man. I really can't believe you didn't even find it funny.
The only bit I remotely found funny was how shit him killing himself was. It felt like a really bad stage performance.
I mean, that's the
Yeah,
whole
it is.
fucking movie.
Yeah.
The whole
Even it.
is us making something in media and giving a shit. Like that specific scene as well. Like when he shoots himself in the head and it does like the slow-mo thing. Like that's something we would have done in media. Like
Yeah, there's some bad film studies student level stuff going on.
hang on. I don't think you can say it's good enough to be a film study. Like
Yeah,
like
that's true. You have actually had to study some films.
yeah.
and further to that, like it not being the result of a film student was so apparently the whole film is shot on both a 35mm camera and also a high def digital camera, and it's just because Tommy Wiseau didn't know the difference between them, so he bought both.
Also, people generally rent the equipment because it's out of date like so fast. They just did, like, Tommy Wiseau just decided he was just going to buy all of the equipment for about another 80 grand.
apparently he's fucking loaded, so why not?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, like considering as far as I know, his plan was only to make this one movie and that's it. Like this was his passion thing that he wanted. I kind of get buying the equipment, like because it'd be a nice little memorabilia thing to keep for yourself. So I don't know if that's the reason he did it, but I think that's quite nice.
To be honest, the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, is he just laundering this? Like, did he have a lot of money in his bank account and he was like, no, like, the takeaway's not going to do for this. We're going to have to make a film.
He never actually gave a shit about the movie. It was literally just like, fuck, I can't explain this money. Fuck it. Also, when I was trying to look for the revenue thing, I randomly ended up on the IMDb page for Lisa's friend, who is apparently an award-winning writer, director, and actor. But her IMDb, she's been in 2 movies. What? Oh no, sorry, those are writers. I think The Room is the only movie she's been in, so I don't know how she's an award-winning actor.
Might have won a Razzie.
Apparently, go on.
I was just going to read off the thing. Carry on.
No, I was going to say they had to replace that actress. She was the replacement for the actress they got shoved, but like she was apparently like one of the best actresses on there. But just watching it, I was going like, oh, you know, for Chris R and her, I might give acting just a little bit of sugar. And then she just got, then she started talking about it, and then she goes, "Your point of view is so different from mine." I was like, oh.
Do you know what?
Acting was so bad.
It was, wasn't it? What was your top shit acting moment?
Hi, Dougie.
The film does feel like the script was made by a 5-year-old. It does. It's like that line. It's just like very singular. It's very like one-liners that don't really make any sense. And they're like, "Hi, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? Good." And
How's
it's
your
just
sex
like,
life?
yeah, it's like it's just so like what? There's no emotion. Like when he finds out he gets cheated on or got cheated on. Sorry, he's like he don't even react to it. He just like
I don't think he can. Like,
he just doesn't react to it.
I'm not sure he has functioning like facial muscles. So
Like any normal human.
yeah,
And how the fuck did they not see him up the stairs as
Oh,
well?
I love that bit.
I mean,
No.
that's on. Like, you can't pick at that. That's fair enough.
It's just like what?
Do you know, I'm,
See, I was sorry, I thought I've interrupted someone again. What are you
that's
saying?
all right, man. Go for it.
I can see why Pat. Sorry, everybody kind of made me a bit more sympathetic to Pat's viewpoint of it. She was just like, if I didn't have you laughing at this like the whole way through, like literally, but from the first moment he comes in, he goes, "Hi, babe," I was in fucking stitches. She was like, if I didn't have you laughing at it, and if I didn't have you providing context for this, I'd have been like, Jesus Christ. Like, I just find the whole thing just hysterical from top to bottom. Like,
That's why I think it's like what Rob was saying. Is like seeing it in the cinema with a crowd of people here to see a film like this probably would make a world of difference. Like the enjoyment would just go even further up because you're all there to just laugh at how shit the film is, and it just goes. It would be so great.
I kind of wish we all watched it together.
Yeah.
Like,
I think when we're able to, and when it's touring again, we should all go and see it in the cinema when we can.
I am not paying for that.
I'll pay for you. You'll enjoy it in a crowd.
I'll pay double for you.
We'll all chip in.
Popcorn included.
But yeah, that scene that Ben mentioned, like the high doggy one,
Mm.
that scene is one of my favorite scenes because it actually makes you realize how, like, although the movie's really awful, that's actually one of the worst scenes ever because they talk over each other with their lines.
It's so paced
Everything
so quickly.
else in the movie, like they actually, even though the lines are shit and it's acted shit, they're generally pretty good. But like they literally talk over each other. And again, the worst part is he himself, so he had the option to not do that.
It is a masterpiece of bad. When we saw it, I was like, oh, Eb, come on, this one's brilliant. The whole thing just played out, and he's like, I was like, oh, it's awful.
That scene though, it is perfect because it shows you sort of like the mentality of how he wrote it. Because it's just like everything in that scene is in service of Johnny being like the perfect person. Because he goes in, he says hello to the dog, and then the woman behind the counter is like, "You're my favorite customer." It's just like it's so on the nose, but it's brilliant.
Yeah, even
It's about 20 seconds.
sorry, Ben.
No, sorry, I was interrupting you there. I was just going to say it's so quick, like how quick it is that it happens in like no less than 20, maybe 15 seconds. Is that he just walks in, gets the rose, and that's it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, right? Because that scene is in like direct contrast to a scene later on where they're just showing like a coffee shop, and like I'm assuming he wanted to show that it was a coffee shop and things were going on. So he had a couple of people, like he had a couple order something, and I was like, okay, yeah. And then another couple order something, and then I can't remember if there was a third or not, or if that's when he comes in. But I'm like,
They are the first.
it's in such direct contrast to that, because like that first scene we're talking about, it's all really quick, and like they fucking talk over each other, and it's like, I'm great, see you later. And that one's like, it's supposed to be like scene setting or whatever, but it's so shit. And then he comes and goes, "Hey, you go."
Oh, the thing you missed about the dog scene with the roses is the fact that he's got his sunglasses on. He walks up to her, and she's like, he goes, "I want a dozen roses." He takes his sunglasses off and he's like, "Oh, hi, Johnny."
As if he's not distinctive enough.
No, but, oh, it's you. No.
Have you ever seen Superman and thought, "Oh, that's Clark Kent"? I don't fucking think so.
Mind blown.
It's just also like, oh, hi, Johnny, I didn't know it was you. You're my favorite customer. It's like it's all dubbed, but it's all dubbed out of order as well. And it's just like, oh, mwah.
Is it actually dubbed? Because I thought it was like something wrong with the video I was watching.
No, it's. I mean, you probably didn't see me say it, but I literally said I was less than 5 minutes into the movie, and I was like, I have to ask this: did he dub himself? The mouth movements do not match up with the sounds.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Doggy.
I've been doing a bit more reading while we've been talking, and I'm even more convinced that this was some front for some kind of money laundering now, because apparently, when the film first came out, he put a billboard up in Los Angeles, and it was there for long enough that they used it to promote The Disaster Artist as well.
Wow.
Oh my god.
I remember that billboard. Is it like the outskirts of LA or something?
Yeah.
Because it's on this part of the freeway, and everyone could always see it for like so many years. I had the phone number that doesn't exist anymore, and people rang in to try and talk to him, and had his voicemail or something on loop.
Oh man, it's crazy, isn't it?
I want you to know that I was reading up on that woman because I was confused why she was known as like an award-winning whatever, and all she'd been doing is writing. According to, she's best known for her popular web series, The Room Actors. Where are they now?
Oh wow! That we've got to source that.
Is that it?
I thought everyone apart from Pat would be quite interested to hear that.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. No, that's right. I was just gonna say, like, obviously, I've read like quite a little bit of this, so like, just tell me if you don't want to. But like, I did have something that addressed the dubbing thing. If anyone wanted it,
Fuck.
Yeah, go on.
yeah. Oh, Johnson, fuck off.
No, I said I'm fucking excited.
Oh.
That's acting for you.
Oh, that's right.
I actually do.
Right.
Sorry.
Wait,
Oh, hi, Alex. Dougie.
that really caught me.
just say it.
Oh, cool. I said I'm fucking excited.
It's like, my favorite kind of thing. Just like, because obviously the normal thing is to say something that sounds similar to it and just completely just circumvent that.
Oh fuck! I can't read it now.
Oh, there's so many great bits in this film. Like there's that when they're in the party, and she says, "Oh, it's hot in here. We should go outside." And everyone goes, "Yeah," and they just walk out the room. It's like,
Do it single
Oh.
file as well. They single file it, and then she closes the door, and as if no one's going to go. I mean, those two are still in there.
or when they're dancing, they're
I
dancing.
love that little line though, and like Greg Sestero is like she's sitting on his lap, and he's like, "But what about everyone else?" And she goes, "They're outside."
Oh, it's better because he goes, "But everyone's here," and then she goes, "No, they're not. They're outside." And, oh, you planned this from the start. I'm like, "Fuck off."
Do you know?
As if he didn't notice they were outside.
Do you know, apparently during those scenes, right? So apparently the reason that Johnny looked so like out of it is because he had like a blocked nose, so he was taking some kind of like medication to get rid of it. But because that medication was a sedative, he'd also been like completely overdosing on Red Bull to counteract it. And that's why he's so like out of it. That's not him acting. He actually was, because he was overdosing Red Bull.
Yeah,
I
because
would actually have a bit for that as well.
said block nose. I was like, I mean, yeah, like 90% of medications that deal with that will make you drowsy, and yeah, overdosing on Red Bull makes you crash.
Also, I was,
Oh, man.
I was
Well, apparently, oh sorry, Ham. Go on.
I was going to say I was talking to Cole about this, but I was going to say the film looks like it's from the 80s or 90s. It doesn't look like a 2003 film. I don't know how he managed to get a film to look actually older than it is. It was just like, how you possibly done this? It just looks so dated.
I think a lot of it is probably not knowing how to use his equipment.
Like,
Everything's really drab.
you consider, like, even if he has like the best cameras and stuff, and even if he has like the best cameramen and whatever, like, I mean, I don't know enough about this to know if this is true or not, but I would assume that the cameramen don't deal with like the settings and stuff on the cameras. They literally just shoot it, and like the other people involved would deal with all the like, because I don't know if you guys have. I mean, I'm sure most of you have seen like the like I don't know what word I want to use, but more modern, like actual filming cameras, like they've got a ridiculous amount of like knobs and buttons and whatever, like to do all the settings. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was just doing the default setting filming, which would just be the same as any other fucking camera.
Well, normally you'd have like a cinematographer or something doing all that bit, but I don't know if he actually had one. I'm going to find out though.
That's what I assumed
No,
would
definitely.
be the case, that the cameraman would their skill is literally just with directing the camera and like
Operating it.
Yeah.
basically.
Well, yeah.
Oh, Emmanuel just said the cameraman is normally quite responsible for filming setting.
Okay.
I would try to explain, but can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, just about. You're a bit laggy though.
Okay, so I normally the cameraman or woman would be responsible for, yeah, you would have people that help them out, but the cameraman's the first one who's with their assistant, who really dials down the focus, the settings, the shutter speed, the ISO, all those kind of complex settings, the focal depth.
Right.
The cameraman first looks at that, and then they get assistants to kind of help them achieve the vision with the director.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Surely, regardless of what they would be in charge of, it would be like under the direction of whoever's in charge, being like, "This is how I want it to look." And I feel like he probably wouldn't have had any fucking clue how he wanted it to look.
Well, something interesting is I've just looked on the IMDb page for the cinematographer of the room, and everything else he has a credit for, he's a cameraman. So I'm assuming that this cinematographer was just a cameraman, and Tommy Wiseau went, "Yeah, you seem to be good at this."
So I just had a little excerpt of when he was trying to film the fight scene while high on Red Bull. Unfortunately, Tommy's emotional honesty didn't help him with his lines. Tommy had to say, "I'll kill you. Get out of my house before I break every bone in your body." But in Tommy's exhaustion-altered state, the line became, "I'll kill you. Get out of my body before I break every bone in your house."
Oh
Sorry.
man.
This sounds like a right nightmare. Like filming this, it just sounds really fucking awful.
Just all that's what we should do. Like when we can all get together again, we should just watch the documentary about it
Mhm.
because like I feel like that'd be hilarious.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What do you think, Pat? I'm good.
Outside,
Yeah.
We'll have to like dress him up like in Clockwork Orange, put his eyes in those things.
Yeah.
they can watch some cricket on it.
Or baseball, like he's watching.
That's not the joke.
I know, but I was gonna make a joke about the baseball.
Oh, that was
The
really.
baseball.
As
The
I
baseball.
desk, my Windows noise of something being connected happened, and then it was my external hard drive, and I'm not sure why.
Oh, I think that might have been me.
No. The thing popped up to say it was my external hard drive.
Oh, okay.
I've just read something brilliant. So apparently there was a costume designer on the set, but Tommy Wiseau basically picked all of his costumes while she was out for lunch and then refused to change them.
Yeah.
Why did he fucking hire her then?
It's got to be a money laundering front. I don't believe
Why do you
this
do a
was his
lot of
dream
things?
anymore.
Well, he made a point of wearing two belts, and one was to keep his trousers up, but the other one was to cup his ass, so it looked better.
Well, Dan used to do that in sixth form.
It didn't work very well.
No, it didn't work. It's because the belts are too big, Rob.
I mean, I think the worst part about you wearing two belts is that neither of them kept your fucking trousers up.
I know. That's because they was too big.
Like that's almost on the level of this movie in terms of failing the
No.
job you're trying to do.
It is funny, really, because last week we watched a film about Michael Jordan. He's like arguably the best at his job as anyone's ever been, and now this week we've got Tommy Wiseau. He's arguably the worst at his job as anyone's ever been.
But you know, it's all a matter of perspective. He made the movie he wanted to make, so he did a good job.
He did a fantastic job of providing enjoyment for all of us except Pat.
I don't know if now is the time for that thing I was trying to read earlier before John made me laugh.
Yeah, I'm fucking excited.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh no, you started him again.
I'm good again. Sorry, this is just coming off of a little bit about I don't know if anyone noticed this because I actually didn't. But they had to get some photos in on the set, and Tommy just found like a load of like stock photos of spoons, and they're all in the film. So just
I did.
a bunch of photos of framed spoons.
That would like give off very like serial killer vibes if I'd noticed that.
Now that the framed spoons are in place, Tommy got back to the demanding if familiar task of not remembering any of his lines. Shooting the first part of Johnny and Lisa's conversation took longer than it should have, but given that it wasn't a huge acting moment for Tommy, he was able to relax and, with effort, eventually grind out his lines. When Tommy was faced with the pressure of nailing the argumentative taking me apart moment of Johnny and Lisa's conversation, however, he came unglued. Johnny's declaration of, "I cannot go on without you," was where the problems began. Tommy would move as far into the dialogue as, "I cannot go on," and get confused and call out, "Line." Sandy would then dutifully feed him the rest, "Without you." "I cannot go line on without you." "I cannot line." "Tommy, for God's sake, I cannot go on without you." "Okay, thank you." Action. "I cannot go on line."
Oh my God.
The crew's mutinous mockery of Tommy began. Raphael, our director of photography, had by now retreated to the special tent he'd set up on the edge of the set. This allowed him to pretend to watch Tommy's performance on the monitor while he giggled so hard the tent sometimes shook. Line, 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 over and over again. It became hard to accept. Unlike the scene in which Tommy emerged from the outhouse, He wasn't doing anything in this scene. It wasn't like he had to walk and talk at the same time. He was just standing there looking at Juliet. Tommy eventually made it to the line, "You're lying. I never hit you," which wound up sounding like, "You're a lion. I never hit you." Despite Sandy's repeated requests for a better, cleaner take. Not that it mattered. Virtually none of Tommy's captured audio performance was usable, given the sound crew's inexperience and the fact they had to keep stopping and starting during Tommy's takes to load more film. I was reclining nearby on the floor next to Amy, the makeup artist. Tommy came over and squatted next to us. "I don't need you to talk to her," he said, as though Amy didn't exist. "I need you to watch the screen and help me. I can help you from here." "No, you can't. Come with me to monitor." We went over to Raphael's giggle tent. Sandy was there with him. "How this come out?" Tommy asked Raphael. "Great," he said. I followed with, "Perfect, keep going." What else at this point could anyone tell him? "Oh, you just say that," Tommy said, and left me, Raphael, and Sandy alone in the giggle tent. Oh, Jesus. Zoom is causing my phone to overheat. You get the point.
I just want to add that after you talking about him being like line constantly, and then going on to that bit where you're saying it sounded like he said you're a lion, I actually heard it with the way you said it as your line.
Why?
But Alex frozen, so who knows if he ever heard that.
Who knows? Who knows? I don't think we're gonna
Alex
know.
in the zone. You can say he's zen.
Do you know, I noticed something watching it this time, which is like, I don't know, it's another weird thing, but it's something that you wouldn't necessarily notice unless you were looking for it. But they say future husband and future wife like probably like 5-6 times, but no one ever says fiance.
Whoa, that's weird.
Yeah, there's
We got to Alex.
Oh, Pat, I thought I'd really made an impact on you then.
Nope.
Oh, there he goes.
Nope.
Was
No,
fun.
Alex
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, like I said, I'm pretty sure one movie once, and that's where he learned his English. So he probably's never heard of the word fiance, or like, no, they did use the word engaged once. So there's that.
I'm going to be back in a second, sorry.
That's all right, man.
Leave.
Oh dear.
So
Yeah.
whose pick is it next?
Mine actually.
It's the Humphrey.
It's very. Does that so with the actual acting in the film? I gather they wasn't bad actors. It was just the fact that his lines were so bad that he'd wrote.
Well, I don't know if it's true. Well, I mean, the
It's-
lines are definitely bad. Like, so there was one line. It's the bit where Mark says, I think it's like keep your anger in your pocket or something like that. So
Yeah.
apparently Greg Sestero was like, this line is ridiculous. I can't say it. Can we please just rewrite it? And Tommy Wiseau kept being like, no, you're an actor, act. You need to say this line. And apparently, like to actually get the line out, he just imagined every bad experience that he'd had on set, and then he imagined that he was saying something else, and so he said the line, and then they were like, yeah, great, that's fine. And apparently, like the rest of the time that they were there, he was like, I'm never saying that line again, that's a stupid line. So I think some of it is the writing. Like the writing is definitely bad, but I also read that I think like the budget was like 6 million, we said, right? And all of that was spent on production and marketing. So I don't know if that means that he didn't pay the actors. So I don't know if they were like students or something. I don't know.
Because you can see is it Cesaro Blake? You can see he's literally not doing anything. He's just looking at him deadpan like, I'm not doing this. You can actually see it in his face that he's like, just fucking kill me. Like the old woman, like Coral's, because I watched a bit of it with Coral when I was saying how bad it was, and she said the best actor is the old woman.
Yeah, I agree with that, to be honest.
Because she's actually acting, whereas all the other people are just reading the lines that they've been told to read.
The thing, I'm convinced that she wasn't acting, and that's just who she is.
Wow.
Like,
I don't.
you said about you had to look up the script to find out if, like, her saying who are these characters was in there.
Yeah.
I reckon her script initially was blank, and he just wrote in whatever she said.
It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. Like, but I don't know. That's what I find so weird about it, though, is that. Well, I mean, it's obviously like I don't know. Like nothing really makes sense in like a convention of films way. Like there's no real plot. Like every scene just sort of like reinforces the same thing. Like characters just pop up out of nowhere. Like nothing makes sense. But there are like a few lines where you're kind of going like, shit, is the actor just kind of saying what's on their mind at this point? But they're all written in there. It's really bizarre.
That's weird. But yeah, it's just like there's no context to some of the stuff, like the kid. Like if they made a point of him being like mentally challenged or whatever, it would make sense, but they don't explain it, so he just looks really weird. Like, and they don't even take notice of him being weird. They just think it's just normal, and you're like, am I missing something?
Well, that's another strange thing, because they do have like a scene where Lisa's going, oh yeah, Johnny pays for his apartment and he's doing all of this stuff for him, but yeah, it's never actually dealt with.
Yeah, like from a story perspective, it definitely could have been done better. But like I said, like even though it can't have been the case because nobody apart from Tommy knew, but I felt like I got it from the way the guy acted. So like when it got to that scene where he's like, oh yeah, I paid for his apartment and this and that, I was like, I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Do you know what, actually, I do have some news to reveal. I've done some reading, and apparently Lisa's mother survived breast cancer.
Oh, good.
Hey.
What?
Is Emmanuel in Russia right now?
I'm
Is it
taking
Russia?
Alec to court.
Oh god.
He's used my
Emmanuel's
name
in
without my
Russia?
I was wondering when you'd bring this up, Pat, because like I noticed your face when Alec joined, going, "What the fuck? I'm not joining."
Oh yeah.
I was sitting here waiting to see if you'd bring it up.
Why is my name Pat?
Yeah.
Have you been pretending to be Pat on other Zoom calls?
I guess I must have been.
What the hell is going on?
Alec wishes he was me.
Yeah.
It's just got a bit too weird for Ben.
Master.
Two Alex, and then one of them turned out to be Pat.
This is where we find out Alec's been talking to Gary's girlfriend behind our backs.
Oh what?
Hope he doesn't watch this.
I doubt it.
Someone to do some editing.
Oh no!
Oh my god.
Wow, my camera is just dog shit, isn't it?
I just can't believe that the film or the backstage part of this film is as insane as the film is. It's like you couldn't get any crazier. Like the way the film doesn't actually make any sense or no continuity, and then it's just in more sanity with the cast and crew actually getting fucked off with him being a dickhead. It's just brilliant.
Well, the whole reason that they recast the psychiatrist character halfway through, because you'll notice in the party there's some guy just going like, "You can't do that to Johnny; it'll destroy him." And you're like, "Who are you?" That's just
Is
That's
he the
who they
same bloke?
no, it's not the same bloke. It's
I mean, like it's the same character.
He's
I
meant to be
mean,
the same character, but like the whole thing was Tommy knew that he had like the original guy had like a scheduling conflict, but just left it right up until the last minute to film any of his scenes, and he was like, "We've only got today, so I told you about this." And Johnny, like Tommy was going like, "That's okay, we can replace you." And then yeah, he just ran out of time.
because it doesn't make any sense at the end. Because you're like, who the fuck's this bloke talking about? Like,
Literally, an actor had to leave halfway through, and they just didn't refilm anything.
oh my God. That is just.
It's just a level of incompetence. I just think it can't help but be a bit endearing, you know.
Oh, is there any any backstory to him saying, "You tear me apart, Lisa"? There's got to be some backstory for that.
It's
So
meant
that-
to be. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, so that line, obviously not the Lisa bit, but the "you're tearing me apart" is stolen from a James Dean film. I can't remember. Is it Rebel Without a Cause? It's stolen from.
Yeah, that was actually the end of the thing I was about to read before my phone just exploded. But yeah, it's Rebel Without a Cause. He's trying to reference. Oh,
This is the thing, though, isn't it? Like, I keep coming back to it, but there, like, that's another moment of self-awareness. Like, you do wonder if it was on purpose or not. I mean, Tommy Wiseau says it was on purpose now, but like, I don't know. There is some evidence to suggest it might have been, but yeah.
did anyone else notice Pat just the camera there?
I was looking at something.
Really?
Sorry, you just look really angry. I just
No,
want to check it over.
You made him watch this film, right? He's angry about that.
Yeah, maybe we should cast Pat in a movie right now and get him to do the angry acting like right now.
You're tearing me apart, Pitman.
Liz-
Oh no! Pat's gonna fuck my navel.
Bloody
please,
hell,
no.
that's an image, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah, but-
fucking
We dragged Pat out of that tent. Knew it was gonna
hell.
go this way.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a there is one line that wasn't in the script. It's the bit where oh, what's his name? Stephen, where he's like, I feel like I'm sitting on an atomic bomb waiting for it to go off. So yeah, I think his name's Stephen. But anyway, so the line where he's like, oh, I'm sitting on an atomic bomb waiting for it to go off. So that wasn't scripted. Like, the actor just said it, not realizing that the camera was rolling, and they just kept it in.
There's a whole filming the whole time.
But this is part of my whole problem with the Disaster Artist film, and it's sort of the whole crux of it at the end is the guy who's playing Greg Sestero is shouting at James Franco, going like, "Dude, where are you from? And how old even are you?" And I was like, that is not the fucking bit that makes Tommy Wiseau weird. Like, those are the more pedestrian elements of Tommy Wiseau, honestly. Like,
A fucking alien or vampire? That is the main
Yeah.
quest.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he actually is just genuinely a vampire. And like when they said they couldn't get the car, he was like, "Oh, I can't show my real powers." Like,
it
This
turns
is
out
this is Stephen. Just to clear that up for you.
oh no, like I got who you meant once you said the line again, because you obviously meant the psychologist, but for some reason I thought his name was Pete.
it turns out actually Tommy Wiseau is in another movie that's already been covered by Film Club, and that's Close Encounters. He's just in the back, and he
He's
just
one of the weird alien kids.
Yeah,
Got painted on eyes.
make a film. That was Arnie. Sorry.
yeah, I was
How was
Tearing me
that?
apart, Lisa.
Wow, that was classic.
yeah, I went to say that to you earlier, Alec. Like your Wiseau impression sometimes borders on and teeters over to an Arnie impression.
Yeah. Well, it's of no fixed abode, so I think I should probably, reflect that.
Work on your acting, man.
Oh, hey, if it's good enough for Tommy Wiseau, it's good enough for me.
Mhm.
Sorry, yeah, carry on.
Exactly.
Get off
No,
that.
they actually made a stage show with the original script as well. I think that's another thing. If that ever comes over here, we absolutely have to go to it. Can you imagine watching that live?
The Room live.
Oh my god, that actually so good.
Is if they forget their lines or anything, it'd work out fine. Like whatever, who gives a shit?
Well, that's the thing. Like, Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero were actually in the play as well. So if he was having that much trouble when it was filmed, then fucking hell, like, imagine how good that play is.
How the fuck did he ever do anything live?
It would literally be like half an hour of him just doing his lines like, no, wait, No, I said it wrong. And then everyone's just in the audience like, this is not funny anymore. I actually want to fucking kill him.
wonder if
I've
there's
been-
any.
This comes back to what Rob was saying earlier, and all that shit, all those extra takes, all the fucking thing going on. It's because he just needed the movie to be filming for a certain period of time for this laundering thing. When he
It's
puts
a
the light,
conspiracy.
he does it fine.
There's just this guy leaving just dollar bills in the washing machine, just going like, go on, say it again. He's like, line. He's like, thank you.
Don't think they'll keep buying this line. Oh my god, they're buying it.
Can you imagine sitting for a stage play? It's meant to be like 2 hours long, and you're there 4 hours in. It's not even half finished, and he's still going line. And you're like, oh god.
Kill me.
The story 4 hours on.
Right.
I would have long gone.
So I've actually found a recording of the stage play on YouTube.
Fucking hell.
I'll stick it in the chat.
I think I just love how every scene is just it doesn't know how to end, so it has to end with a character needing to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's just I can't stay, but anyway. And then people enter the apartment to go, I can't stay, and then they go, what about this? And they go, don't know, and then they just walk off.
Did anyone notice that the door changed his side as well?
I didn't notice that.
Did you not notice? Like near the end, it's like it's always on the left, right? And they come in on the left side into the city, and there's a bit where the door's actually on the right side, on the other side of the room, and it's completely different setup.
I'm really upset that because like my mic's so shit with Zoom that you can't hear me talking. I couldn't catch Dan in the left right thing that I wanted to after he said left right. So I just
Yeah, right. Left, yeah. Yeah. As I was saying it, I was like, oh, yeah, sounds weird.
So as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, wait, on the left, right?
Left, left.
But
No, right.
you can hear me, so
But yeah, it's like you see the door change side, and you're like, what? It's like like you normally get like bloopers in films, or you get like continuity errors where it's like really slight. This was literally a massive part of the scenery that you can clearly see is a problem.
To be fair though, I mean, like it's well, it's kind of one of those things where like there's so much going on that I don't know. I feel like that was kind of like disguised in plain sight, just because you'd never look for something like that in the room.
It is good because there's like a little there is actually like a little bit on here, and it's it's like the Tommy does actually try and give his female characters like something to do. Like he tries to that they're more than just just like a pair of tits. Like he does actually try and give them characters to do, and it's just kind of what does he give them to do? And it's like they are cleaning, they are cheating on them, they are having sex, they are getting fucking pissed on wine.
They are having bad news about breast cancer.
They just spend their time going like, you gotta stick with Johnny. He's financially stable.
Exactly. The whole that's the thing that got me a lot. He's like, oh, she said to hit me. He's really like he's got money. It's like what? Like if this.
What I love about that is both what you just said, the fact that she's like, he hit me, and she's like, fuck it, he's got money, but also that them, everything, all the extra scenes are to show how like great he is and what a perfect person he is and whatever. But then immediately, like when it gets to the cheating thing, he pushes her down, and like fair enough, it's not as bad,
Oh, yeah.
but he's immediately aggressive towards her, and I'm like, all right.
But it's the way that he does it really passive aggressively. He just kind of just pushes her. He don't even like shove her or anything. He just like, no.
Oh, it's complexly dreadful, and I think
it's because you're so used to watching a film and you understand like this is the plot line and this goes this way. He's got none of that, so you're a bit confused. You're like, wait a minute, what's happening? And it's just so disorganized and chaotic. You're like, I just can't work it out, but it's just so funny at the same time.
Yeah.
The fact that it's so just completely fucking bonkers and doesn't make sense. Like the bit when they turn up at the park and they start throwing a football at each other. And he tackles him.
there was actually a bit where the director went, "Can we stop with the fucking football? Like enough." We've had enough.
Couldn't figure out how men were supposed to hang out other than like throwing a football around. But also, I can't remember if it was that exact scene or not. First of all, the audio there is terrible. But second of all, I'm pretty sure he asks him how he is like 5 different times. That's the conversation that's happening, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Do you know one scene that I do think is really underrated is it's quite near the start where Lisa orders pizza, and then Johnny comes home and she's like, "Do you want me to order pizza?" And he's like, "Whatever, I don't care." And then I'm kind of sat there going, "You've ordered it," and then she goes, "I already ordered it," and I'm like, "Oh, they got me."
The best part about that is that then he goes, "Oh, you always think of everything." And it's like, what?
You didn't want it a minute ago.
There's the bit when he like comes in halfway through him and Lisa and Mark like fucking. He like walks in and he goes, "Lisa, you invited all my friends to the party. Good thinking."
Good thinking.
I love that.
Like the funny thing about that pizza thing though is that like for this movie, like that's the benchmark we're going with before I say the sentence. For this movie, that was actually pretty complex storytelling because she goes on. Like, I can't remember if she'd already said it to her mum or not, but it doesn't really matter. But she goes on about him being boring, and then you can tell which part of the pizza is his. And like, considering how shit this movie is, that's pretty fucking good.
I do just want to. There's some things happened in the group chat that I want to immortalize. Ben asked Emmanuel why he hadn't rated the film, and Emmanuel went, "Oh, I forgot because of how bad it was." and then Pat went, "Want me to do straight ones for you?"
Wow, it's that bad that you forgot to rate it.
Didn't even
To be
rate-
fair, the only reason why it's not
Agreed.
straight ones for me because
Antichrist.
Antichrist is probably the worst film club has had so far, and I'm keeping it at that. and Disaster Artist was far worse than this, and I didn't think it's possible.
Right, but there's a difference. Like the Disaster Artist must be bad for like different reasons why this is bad. Also, just from like it doesn't matter how much you personally disliked Antichrist. Like objectively speaking, you cannot say it's worse than this movie. Like
Yeah, the acting is so much better.
yeah, the acting, production,
Actually,
anything.
no,
Yeah.
but in the Antichrist, they're actually acting, whereas in this,
Oh.
they're not.
Also, like just a point, a fox turning around and saying chaos reigns makes sense story-wise more than this entire movie does.
I don't know. It's like what I was saying before. I'm really surprised that you don't get along with it on any level, Pat. Just because, like, it's just I don't know. There's so much to enjoy out of it. Like, I mean, fair enough. Like, if you judge it as a normal film, you're not going to have a good time. But I don't think that's what it's there for.
It's because it hasn't got Nicolas Cage being an action film.
Good comment. And I'll just update you on where Emmanuel's now responded to Pat asking if he wants to do straight ones with.
Sorry, John. Oh shit! Sorry.
Did you cut him out as he was going to finish what he's
I was
talking?
I was laughing too hard. I'm really sorry about that. I will mute my microphone. Carry on, John.
I can't tell if he's gone or if he's just holding that face.
Who, John?
Oh, he's
Hey,
Shit.
that was good. That was better acting than that film.
You know, actually, the bit where just before Lisa's mum's like, "What are these characters doing here?" The characters who are like there, that scene grossed me out more than Antichrist, because the bit where they're kissing with the chocolate in their mouths, I was like, "Ah, you dirty buggers."
Yeah, Cole made a comment about that.
You know how much that scene grossed me out because I've explained.
John made a good point, so I've decided to put it straight.
Wait, what? Hang on. What?
Wait, really? Well, if that's all ones, what's Disasterist?
All ones.
See,
If that's worse, then this should be all twos.
Pat. I meant Ben.
That,
I always
mean,
mix them up.
That's how it's-
totally the same, right?
I guess I'm just used to telling Pat to shut up, so I went to tell Pat to shut up, and I said Pat instead.
I went to see Nutkins.
I think basically what we've isolated as the problem for a complete like thumbs down from Pat is showing a clitoris.
Getting cut off. That's
Yeah,
the
no,
main-
Frank.
Yeah, I was gonna
Genital mutilation.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say if it was just showing a clitoris, then that shark clip would have got him.
Oh God!
Oh, every time.
It's like we've got PTSD from watching these films. Every time you say shark, I know just loses their mind. No.
Yeah, I guess we can't. No one picked Jaws because
Just about to say, just imagine the Jaws thing.
Somehow,
Instead of Jaws jumping out of the water, just like a vagina comes out.
Do you know Tommy Wiseau is actually working on a film right now called Big Shark?
yeah, he's him and they're walking
Make
through a
food.
city and it all just fills with water and there's a big CGI. I don't want to call it a CGI shark, but it is. It's a shark made by computer animation. I don't know if it is. God.
Oh dear.
Whew.
I'm surprised they allow him to make films.
Oh, he's he's loaded. He can just do what he wants.
Right.
So
Do we have any more points? Because it's almost 12 o'clock.
well, there's a lot of film. I couldn't believe it was an hour and 40 minutes of it. It's just insane.
Any more actual points?
I watched the YouTube version without the sex, and it really lost something. It's really detracting
lost
from
something.
the overall experience of the film to not show the sex scenes.
I mean, yeah, navel pounding is really important.
You got to
Oh my goodness.
that's where I watched the film.
navel pound. Oh.
That missed out.
I wasn't watching it twice.
I just imagined that Pat meant that from the perspective of navel pounding, that's where he watched the film, and I was just like, that's a weird image.
Maybe you should have watched the version with the sex in it, and you'd have come away with a bit of a easier reaction to. Nah, fair enough.
Yeah, you're not missing much. Actually, you are missing much. You are missing a lot, but it's good you missed it.
Footage.
If I want to watch sex, I watch porn.
All I'd say about this whole thing, the reason why I rated, so I thought 1 for everything except impact, which is 10, because I guess similar to what you guys say, it has become like not just a book that was made about it, disaster artists and all sorts of stuff, but in like film, it's become like the film everyone gets shown to know what not to do in terms of a film. Like if you in the film industry, like you work with film sets and stuff, like some director or something will send this to you, say, watch this. Why am I watching this? So you know what not to do if you're in film school. Like it shows up in film schools and stuff all around the world. It's crazy impact. I'm just like, so bad.
Weird to me. I feel like you get much less out of being told don't do this than you do to be like emulate this. Like, because there's so many things not to do.
Mm.
While this movie is shit and like there are so like everything about it is what not to do. Like there's so many like there's a ridiculous number of things that fall into the don't do this category compared to the do this category. So like while I get while I kind of get it, at the same time, I'm like, I don't feel it's that beneficial to use it in that way.
See,
must-
sorry, Rob. Go on.
I was just gonna say that I must admit though, like I do think it kind of loses something when you think of it like that though, because I mean obviously as a film it doesn't move you how you'd expect a film to move you, but you can't say that it doesn't give you anything because like it's what'd you say?
Said Pat can.
Oh, that Pat didn't watch it. But I think it's just like, yeah, like I said, like it does. I mean, if you go into it expecting a film, then you're not going to get much from it because that's not what it is really. But I think, I don't know, the amount of enjoyment that it gives to people that it's still like funding world tours for Tommy Wiseau now. I think it's hard to say it's a failure.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't describe it as a failure
No, yeah.
overall. It's a failure as a movie.
Yeah.
See, the way I've scored it is because Tommy Wiseau wanted this to be like an American drama, like classic, and for everything that is making me laugh about it, it is not an American drama like classic. Like everything is making me laugh, so I didn't want to. I was like, just as a cultural impact, it is known as sort of the worst film ever made, and it's just like awesomely incompetent, and like it does just have that sort of thing. And it spawned like it's actually like really fascinating, like kind of just looking at everything surrounding like the making of it, but like it doesn't. It's not accomplishing what it's trying to be, and I was like, I can't really give it anything other than a 1 for purpose. Like I fucking love it, but it is terrible.
It's an American myth. Oh, sorry, John.
Then The Purpose is 10.
No, I missed the entire first half of that.
Cool. I said if the purpose was to launder money, then it.
Oh.
Totally.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, well, I better fucking adjust my score.
Actually, Rob, we should be careful with you putting this on YouTube because you might get a lawsuit come through from Tommy.
It's
We're
all right.
going to get demonetized before we've made money.
We're gonna make negative money.
It's all right. He won't win it. He can't seem to find lawyers that actually help him. So
To be fair, if this ends with Tommy Wiseau giving us $700,000, then I think we've done all right.
Not bad.
That said,
Oh,
what we're
no.
saying is actually defamatory.
Oh, shit, we're gonna get notorious as like the YouTube channel that fucked over Tommy Wiseau, and then now that's like my whole Space Jam thing is gonna be like immortalized. And everyone's gonna go, that guy, and I'm like,
Can you imagine if like somebody who's like, I don't know, like an ultra powerful lawyer watched this video and then was like, oh yeah, he probably was laundering money, and then that was how it all came out.
I just say, if there was anything to come out of this, I think my favorite part would be the idea that millions of people would see Alec drunk talking about Space Jam and Michael Jackson's dad.
I didn't get enough indication that Michael Jackson's dad was dead. That's
We're going to end up on like the Trevor Noah show, and he's going to be going like, get a load of this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be the ultimate embarrassment. Just the guy who's fucking not funny at all. Being like, look at this dude, not being funny at all.
I mean, now I just imagine that we go full circle and Alec turns into the Joker, and that's where that scene happens.
Oh, I'd gladly shoot Trevor Noah in the face. Sorry.
Get what you deserve.
Oh, he's anti-comedy. I hate him.
Anything else, or shall we move on to Dan telling us what his shitty movie is? Say that.
Emmanuel, do you want a little? I know you missed a lot of it, so I don't know if you want to have a bit more of a say on it.
No, I think, I think I pretty much summed it up in my comments. I don't want to crap on it more.
You don't want to be sued by Tommy Wiseau on the off chance that an ultra powerful lawyer is going to see this video.
Actually,
Come at me, bro. But no, what's your film then? Thanks, guys.
Your film, Hump.
Oh, but
That thing we do at the end of a call where
Oh, is it? Oh,
Dan,
know that. So my film is the
Not heard of that one.
Wicker Man remake because the bees.
These.
Oh, fuck me. This is going to be a long round.
Pat Beef.
The bees. I just
That's
wanna-
that film is trash.
That's the reason I
You picked The
it.
Rock.
The Rock is far better,
we'll see.
and I'll die on that hill.
Can
But do
I
you
just
like the
say?
bees, Tom?
Can I just say the room has finished 0.3 points under Antichrist. Like it's not even a big margin. Like it's not even our worst film by like a long shot.
I think it's the film that we've been the most unanimous on because there's 3 categories where we've given it straight ones between us all.
Yeah,
Pretty much everyone.
I think this is the first film where acting, production, and story have all just been just one, just like one.
Also, guys,
Oh,
how are we
no.
gonna rate how bad or the worst, good or the best worst film is? Are we gonna rate on the lowest marks or the highest marks? Because
So
I
me
was
and Alec were talking about this. I think that we should give it to the best bad movie because the goal would be to enjoy the bad movie.
okay,
I mean, yeah, that's why I was just. That's why I was just. It doesn't matter. You'd still just go by the score.
Yeah,
I
so
also
it
think
has-
as well, like if
Yeah,
we give
makes
it
sense.
to the worst bad movie, then somebody could just go, fuck it, Dragon Ball Evolution, and then we're all gonna sit there for 2 hours getting absolutely
No.
nothing from a film just so it wins the round.
If someone picks that film, I'm quitting.
The reason
Oh, yeah.
Pat left.
shit, I've already picked my film. I've
But
committed.
like this film.
I've never watched it.
Have you not?
I
You're in
Oh.
for a treat.
I only know the memes. And the bit I want to see is the bit where he punches the woman in the face in the bear suit because I just see a snippet of that bit.
Hey,
Oh,
nice,
no.
nice going, Humphrey, because that's going to be prime material for Tommy Wiseau's lawyer to use against you. I just want to see the bit where he punches the woman in the face.
Best of the bear.
Dan,
Best of the bear.
spoil it. How about that?
Yeah, it's ruined for John now.
Oh no.
That is very
Agreed.
Humphrey, to be fair. The only film that he spoiled is the one he hasn't seen.
Because
Oh, I'd
regarded
really
as-
like it if Humphrey won the round. This would be the first round. That Humphrey
Oh wow! I've just gone on IMDb and it's The Wicker Man is the 82nd worst film rated on this
Oh, really?
website. Yeah,
82nd. That's still quite.
What's the
Wow.
Rings rating on there?
3.7 on IMDb.
Rotten Tomatoes was like 17%. Because I don't know why, but for some reason I doubted that Dan had actually like paid attention to what this round was. I went to check it, qualified.
Oh, the awards for this is really funny. So it's actually won Best Cinematography in Theatrical Feature. It was a nominee for Worst Movie of the Year, and then for the Razzies, Worst Picture, Worst Actor, Worst Screen Couple, Worst Remake or Rip-Off, Worst Screenplay.
Well,
So it's a good pedigree.
Where can we watch it?
Yeah.
I have no fucking clue. I just
I
I literally
think it's on
picked
Prime,
it
innit?
because
10 quid or something.
I don't know.
Absolute cuck.
It's because I picked
You
this
mean we got
ages
paid
ago.
for this?
I think
mean,
I think it's included in Prime.
Like Dan,
What's it called again?
Wickman.
Wickman.
Oh,
Wickman.
it's on Stars Play, so you have to have a subscription,
Was it?
but you can have a free trial.
I think I used my free trial for something else.
Damn it, Humphrey.
Oh,
I haven't used Stars Play, so you could probably use mine.
Oh, cheers, man.
oh, Pat,
I don't think anyone should pay for it.
I was gonna say I think I'm gonna buy Pat the Blu-ray.
I've got the DVD of the original.
Oh no, no, it's. I want to go ultra levels. Dick move. Pat is a
Hey.
Blu-ray thing you hate. Ultra.
There's the original.
I don't even like the original that much.
Man, Prime Video.
Well, the original is rated well.
The original is a really good film.
Mhm.
I might
John,
watch the
what were you
original.
saying?
I don't love it.
Oh yeah, you gotta rent it. Oh well.
Hmm.
I did
Yeah,
it. I
John,
did
what
it
were
for
you
the
say-
lols.
Oh man, what is that?
I-
John, what were you saying?
It's way past that.
Okay, sorry.
So yeah, it's $3.49 on Amazon Prime to rent.
That's criminal.
It's crazy, isn't it?
No,
And it's got
Alec, I think you'll find that what I'm currently doing is criminal.
Oh.
Oh,
Hey.
look, we're getting demonetized again.
oh God, Jesus Christ!
Fuck's sake, John.
You're tearing me apart, John.
Best, so you know, not liable for anything.
You're tearing me apart, John. You don't really have the same.
It misses the
Yeah, it does.
You're
it's-
tearing me apart, Lisa.
You need the syllables, which is why Pittman worked.
How could you do this to me?
Pitman.
Oh, that's me.
I just can't believe that he couldn't even say like one single line, which is a sentence. It's insane.
Yeah, he's
Mate.
probably busy thinking about all that.
These laws.
I need like something to close out with.
You know what was part of the
Go, and yeah, I'll speak to you guys next week.
Featured a
Oh,
bit.
you're fucking excited.
See you later, man.
Oh,
I'll see you, John.
Blah.
Bye.
Right.
fucking.
Hey, Rob.
Hmm?
I was going to say, you know what part of the production budget was? He was buying a washing machine to put all the money in.
But actually, seriously, like if you do have a thing to add, I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah, he never did read that thing, did he?
Yeah, you did.
I didn't make it to the end because my phone was about to explode.
But he was basically explaining about like why the dubbing existed, and it was because all the sound crew were like experienced, so none of it was really usable.
Yeah, it's alright. It's kind of lost the emphasis now.